Alright, muri Zimbabwe kusangana kwatiri kuita zvakare ipo pano paZimu News update apo patinoda kupa first hand update anogari kuitika munyika yedu yeZimbabwe. So kana uri mutsva usabve pandosina kusubscribe, kulike nekushare. Sekuza kwatiri kuita zvona zvina kumira zvakanaka mukati memilitary apo patiri kuona Brigade Major General Richard Ruodo vari kuwigwa apo tiri kunzwawo futi kuti Sanyatwe Andle Sanyatwe oya inova iri Chiwenga wari aligned na Vice President Kuzotino Chiwenga vari kunzi vakapoisonwa muri yeZimbabwe. Tikaziva kuti nawo changa yakamira sei apa kudata Tagwirei kusabatikira kwaari kuita mazuva ano kudata Tagwirei ari kunzi asi munyika ari kunorapwa kunze muri yeZimbabwe zvinhu zvinomira zvakanaka mukati mepolitics dziri kuitika muno munyika yeZimbabwe. Nakuti tikuzivisei kuti ndo zviri kuitika, ndo zvimwe zvezvinhu zviri kuitika. So tiri kuti makomboditi tinawo pano mugotudzwa zvongochifunga.
That's a good point you raise.
So take according to you, my numbers are now 1 3 times flight a month 3 times per week. So that we can then compare what Grant is saying and what we are saying.
That's a daily average, right?
Of how many? Daily average of how many?
Of 200 people, 150 to 200 people.
All right.
Yeah, so if you now spread it to a 3-day model or a 2-day model, it now...
Taxi.
Yeah, go on.
Taxi. Ngati delay nezviripo nezvakaitwa agreed.
So if
sorry,
yeah, pesa ndikupinda ini. Ayo pesa ini azona ndiri pako hosi.
Ndaichida kuti handitika here we have got an agreement between ACMI, agreement between Zimbabwe.
What happened to champion?
You are not hearing me.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, I was saying there is an agreement between ACMI agreement, the ACMI agreement between Zimbabwe and the Spanish carrier Lines. There is some direct flights, between Harare and London Gatwick, starting on the 22nd July 2026. Is a 13-month contract brokered by Freeborn Aviation Zimbabwe.
It might be me, but the Homeboy champion is breaking up quite badly. Are you getting the same?
That's why I said you are hearing me, so that I can.
Yeah, you are hearing me. You now. We are hearing you now.
Okay. So the Plus provides an Airbus A330 300 wide body aircraft to service the route. The crew Plus provides the complete flight crew and cabin crew. Maintenance Plus Ultra handles all the technical upkeep and safety compliance. insurance plus covers the how and primary operational insurance requirements, then the Air Zimbabwe deals with flight tickets and everything. So in one way or the other, the revenue distribution was not outlined properly. All right, then the issue that is important, I think, is the regulatory that is there, whereby I think Zimbabwe was bad. Zimbabwe was bad in itself, so it can't operate. It has to look for another alternative in order for it to service that thing. That's why they have entered into a 13-month contract. And this contract, if this contract is going to break even, then maybe it continue. If it fails to break even, then we will go back to square one, where you are going to givela ama airlines amanye. It's not me. I'm just giving you what is there, because contract duration is for 13 months. So
yes, I agree with you that it's 13 months, but you also have to understand that airports are hubs. To the details that you provide are accurate. I saw them. That traveling to Zimbabwe could also facilitate travelers from Zimbabwe to Zambia who want to travel on that specific date. Travelers from Zimbabwe, from the United Kingdom to Mozambique, to other regional destinations, because remember, we also have other flights taking off from Harare. So maybe they've looked into this so that there is a relationship that facilitates connecting flights from Harare. So it's not just people traveling to Zimbabwe, as in Zimbabweans. It will also open up travel opportunities or possibilities for people traveling to other regional destinations. That's so when you look at it, you can't look at it in isolation that this passenger is traveling from UK to Zimbabwe and that's their destination. That would be a limited view of how global travel systems work. People travel to Heathrow to go to Scotland. People travel to Zurich to go to South Africa. People travel to Manchester to go to Stockholm. So the rerouting of airlines and connections and all these other dynamics, you also have to put them into account. So is it sustainable? The numbers will prove. I'm sure for them to come up to this aircrew ACM agreement between Plus Ultra and Air Zimbabwe, they would have done all these calculations, simulations, possible to see whether people will travel with them.
No, you necessarily know what I really want, especially myself. I wanted to see the numbers, but the numbers are not there. But I will continue to look for those numbers. Then I look into the sustainability. Is there let me say, is there a condition for them to be able to, or let me say, are they going to be able to break even? If they can break even, then it's fine. If they fail, they failed. Yes, of course, this deal is like that, but we all know that Air Zimbabwe there will be remunerated muchly on commission, because from their performance obligations that I have seen, they are responsible for the tickets, for selling tickets, meaning that the Air Zimbabwe is an agent. So there is a principal agent relationship here that should be talked about. But I don't know everything, because I'm just looking at the contract and everything that I see. I don't know what El Godo has got as well, but it's what.
I have a few things on typical costs on leasing and wet lease on A330. Typically, they are leased per hour, ranging from 9,000 US dollars to 11,000 US dollars. Depends on whether it's the newer. You see, there's the newer A33 Neo. They're very fuel efficient, but the leasing fees are usually around between 9 and 11. But mostly my wet leases, they have what I called utilization commitment, which is about you book block hours, about 200 to 300 block hours per month.
Yes, they use power by the hour.
Yes,
it's mainly the main cost is on the engines.
Yes, so it's per like they buy 250 hours a month, which would be maybe 3 days a week. I don't know how much, but there's usually a baseline of guaranteed hours. So it usually costs, from what the last time I read, it's usually about 3,000 US dollars a month to lease wet lease a fleet, and then there are operational costs, which the covers plane support, operational support, airport fees, ground handling, navigation, overflight fees, crew layover, which are met by by that company. I'm optimistic. I'd love it to work, as long as they don't put stuff on there. Because last time the problem what Zimbabwe failed was because they had so many stuff on, a lot of hangers on. Sometimes they used to have a plane would have 40%, 50% Zimbabwe families and friends. What I would say, okay, in the last 6 months, I've been to Zimbabwe 4 or 5 times, almost using Qatar, Emirates, Ethiopian, Kenyan. I've used all of them. There is traffic. The traffic is there. I mean, almost I was flying midweek, even via Joburg. I was just meeting lots of Zimbabweans. I think the last time I was there, about 4 weeks ago, I was in Qatar. The plane from Qatar to Harare via Lusaka was packed. The return was the same. And then I think the other time I came in early May, I used Ethiopian. Ethiopian was full. They actually used a big 757. That's how much traffic is there. But what is needed is, I think, for Zim not to go back to their old ways. I don't know about the cargo, because cargo is negotiated. Just don't say I'm using cargo now. Cargo is negotiated 6 months in advance. Horticultural guys, they buy cargo well in advance. So I'd love them to negotiate with give better rates, because Emirates is one that's doing most of the legwork. Once a week is got a big.
Godo.
Yeah.
What's the capacity of A330?
It depends how they configure it. You can have maybe 40 first class or business, and then 200.
272 economy.
Yeah, 272 economy.
Okay.
The average price, I believe, is about $500 US per seat, discounted. If you work out that, it works about 100 to 200, including business class. You're getting about 250,000, 300,000 a flight. 600 to 10.
No, you can't. You're getting up to about 150,000. That's about break even if you're using an average of.
I'm putting it because sometimes last minute costs, maybe the other 70K don't.
Guys, sorry.
I'll put it tops 200,000.
Yeah, that's what I said, 200,000, maybe 200,000. So on a return trip, maybe, to and from, you're looking at 400. My leasing fees.
The point I'm trying to make, God, it's not sustainable.
I think it's a loss making.
Let's put A330 on a heavy configuration, a heavy passenger base of 300. Let's put a 300.
I actually have 300 here.
No, but what I'm saying, I still think it's a loss making venture, but it's a needed venture.
Okay.
It's about building traffic. It's really, I'll tell you, but there's no airline that makes profit in the first 6 months of operations. No airline does that. The
Maximum
startup
they can
costs.
make on this route, if we are going by if we're being optimistic with the numbers, is 50 grand per flight. Because leasing it, going by your numbers, which are also accurate, right? I was checking my my leasing costs, and I've gone for the topmost, which is 15K per hour for 10.5 hours to Zimbabwe. So a single trip will cost them in the region of 150,000 to 300,000.
You see,
Then
that's just
wait
one flight.
there, because if you were saying that it can carry 300, then 3 by 5 it becomes 150. Then it will match the other
Yes, you have
150.
to adjust for first class tickets and last minute flights, like what God was saying. So take it to 200,000.
Yeah. Can I just finish? Then I'm dashing off. I'll listen. What I think is the first 6 months. Let's just take this as a loss-making exercise to bring. It's just building brand building, isn't it? After about 6 months, my expectation is for them to go to buy their own, get
Aircraft.
their own aircraft, because most of the fees, remember, are going on to paying my landing fees,
Yes,
my
yes.
maintenance.
Maintenance.
Ezim has got a very good maintenance in Ngee. So it might cut down on costs, because they could bring down costs. If they can bring down costs on operating to something like £7,000 and $7,000 an hour.
Plus, go to 400 pounds or 500 pounds. That's on the lighter side, which I agree with you that it is it's a loss-making entry into the market.
Into the market.
Yeah, because 500. Come on! I'll be flying every day to Zimbabwe, working from home.
Can I tell you something? Uganda Airways nearly collapsed when they went into this. They had brand new planes. They struggled the first 6 months. They were now canceling canceling flights. It's a very cutthroat business. Aircraft make money when they're flying, because you pay, like I said, you pay per flying hour. If it's landed, you don't pay anything, isn't it? But you're not making money. As long as the bird is in the air, you make money. So I'm optimistic. Look here, I'm very patriotic. I hate this government with a passion, but I love Zimbabwe with a passion. And I love Zimbabwe. My hating for the government is for things that they've done wrong that they could have done right. That's a separate issue. But if it comes to business, if it comes to Zimbabwe, promotion in Zimbabwe, I'll promote Zimbabwe any day, anytime.
And God,
yes.
This is and I agree with you 100%. It's a loss-making entry route, because the 300,000 we're talking about does not include airport charges, navigation, ground handling, catering costs. They are not included in this cost. So,
But if they're clever, they would have structured a deal that says, look here, it's a turnkey deal. We do the sales, charge us. They charge, say, Ezim, give us 3 million, we'll take care of everything. Fuel, I mean, you name it. If they structure their deal that everyone else, they take care of everything else. That Spanish thing. I mean, they've been in aviation business, those guys. They've been in aviation business. They know how to do it. They negotiate with, they run two or other three companies. But one thing I know, they're on the expensive end. They are really on the expensive end. They are cheaper. But I think maybe dealing with Ezim, I think champion, the operational risks with dealing with them. Lots of risks.
I would actually advocate for removal of any political influence on this thing and just leave it to fly on its own.
Don't you do you think that is Zimbabwe working that way?
That's what I was saying, Komatex Kuti. As long as government is there, it's not worth investing into Zimbabwe.
No, guys. You know that I'm not a ZANU-PF guy. I don't, but they are trying. There are some guys there that are technocrats that are trying. I did speak to a couple of guys. Ezim has consulted a few other guys that were structuring the whole thing. They were actually requesting that the Mandarins keep away from the deal. That's what they were requesting. To know, guys, let the guys that know how to do this do this. There are some very clever guys that are there. There are some very clever guys that were consulted before this whole thing. Why they went for a wet lease? They could not go direct because they've got debt. 6 months helped them to 6-7 months. In fact, 18 months. This initial deal helps them to build name and all that. And ASM can go back to Airports Company of UK and say, okay, we owe you. They owe IATA money. They can go back and say, okay, guys, we've been operating for a year. We want to do our direct thing. Can we do this? Can we make a payment plan? That's what they want to do. That's the only way they could fly into London.
Dob, when you were saying putting consultations, sorry, just 1 minute. When you were saying consultations, wouldn't it be prudent also to say, okay, our airline is making a loss when it's traveling to the UK, but traffic that we are bringing in Zimbabwe can be realized as money also in tourism, can be realized as money also in business integration in Zimbabwe. Then one entity making a loss, but the other aspect of the economy, they are making a profit from that loss-making entity.
But at the moment in United, are we even making a profit using that airport? How much are we making at the moment?
No. What I wanted to know from Elgado is that he is gone. I don't understand. So maybe Taxi can know or champion. Why are we playing with Air Zimbabwe? Because it seems
because if that airport is generating less than $1 billion a year, I don't think I think they can generate simple figures like 20-30 million a year. Then guys, we are playing, guys. Because if that airport is generating less than 50 meters a year, then my retails, my booster.
But
and now you want to
airport, it's on its own. Airline, it's on its own, isn't it?
Yes. Now you want to introduce the airline.
Anthony, we must separate things. The airline.
No. Let's not separate these things.
No.
I know that text. But if that airport if it's generating less than 50 or less than 100 a year, then you want to introduce an airline right now. An airline here is going to go by Zimbabwe direct here. Which other route is it going to be going? And what stiff competition is it going to face?
But you are looking at one only airline which is going to London. Are you even looking at Harare Joburg, Harare Tanzania?
How many people use their Harare Joburg? To be quite honest.
That's the cash cow for Zimbabwe, that route.
How many people they would rather pay $30 to jump on a bus?
That's the cash cow. No,
taxi. How many people from Zimbabwe want to try an airline to Madam Joburg?
No,
less people.
Miranda number.
Usati mensa grema number. Tarisa mabasa anoenda kujoza. Kuti how much is that? No tax. You could try an economy yemunika. Do you know how much is it from Harare to Johannesburg by bus? Do you know how much is it? Okay, then do you know how much is it from an airline from RG to Johannesburg?
$200.
Can you work the difference then? Then no check okay by Zimari.
If you looked into how many people are traveling.
Why do that text? No to bozita kwama zedu guys my road akashata. Don't go by road. Because ndikutengere ticket. Ukandipa in time ndokutengera ticket less than 100.
Let's go name a number too, boy. manhamba anotibatsira.
So the difference yekuti $30 by bus mazuva ano yakatowanda because pane zvakachiitika izvizvi. Koya $120 by airline. How many Zimbabweans can cover that difference?
But two boy, if we are not going to
So you don't know where they are coming from, Grant.
Again, the point is everyone wants to have a share of that what? Of that cake.
Grandi. What I need to understand is how does the airport benefit? Ipapo kuti vanobhadhara airport inoiswa mari for
ndokumbira kumisa ibhija. Unoona dambudziko raitika apa Grandi ka nemunhu wese ari pano paspace. Dambudziko raitika apa, one ndorokuti we don't have full information. That's number one. Number two, this is practical. This is very practical. Since this is a loss-making venture, we should have a bundle of goods or of products that are being provided within one people. And it airline very kupi. Why? Because you need to diversify so that that loss becomes a bit easier to manage. As long as it is continuing to be a huge amount or a significant amount, forget it.
Between Joburg and Harare, pane 13 flights on a daily basis. Dzinosenga vanhu tops 150 seats. So per day, pane 1,500 seats. Per year, pane 5,500 seats. Zino travel ipapo. So
how much are they costing? No, how much are they costing as well?
Per seat.
Yes.
It depends next season, but last week Flysa yakachita ndateka ticket richita let me double check 100 and something a return for
about 120 freelance.
19.
no not a return.
Economy
right.
150 US to 350.
Yeah, because ukatenga return freelance. I've got my brothers on the road zakashatisa about 140 to 150.
Chiti per average figure tikupanchirei handiti
Isa 200 yandakuudza yeye ndo
no yakawandisa
aina kuwandisa
Tax 200 yakawandisa just both
this atenda mberi let's have a Corey. Can you go and say, go to the Sky Scanner? Just go to Sky Scanner now when you're talking. And just type a date. Don't make it earlier date. Just put maybe 2 weeks ticket to South Africa, Johannesburg, Oliver Tambo, from Harare to now as we speak. Okay. You'll never get a ticket with 109 return ticket. That's a lie.
No way.
I can't.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
And it takes airport here, you could generate about 30 million a year.
First ticket you find on that first 2 boy is a Fly Star. Sorry, 2 boy. A Fly Star is the cheapest.